24. Another video about a CW TV series. There will probably be two more, one about the 100 and one about DC Legends of Tomorrow. Tomorrow, actually, I'll probably make those videos tomorrow and I'll upload them tomorrow. But today, I'll be talking about The Flash. The Flash is probably CW's best TV show, best superhero TV show. I shouldn't say TV show, that's dangerous. It's their best TV, it's their best superhero TV show. I mean, the competition that they have is Vixen, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and now Supergirl, because CW is, I think, an ABC affiliate. So what happened was it was shown on like ABC at certain times. Then they were like, this isn't very good, and now it's going to CW, and now it's actually worth it to. Now it's actually where it should be, and it should have been on CW to begin with. Now, it's the best DC. Not even DC. It's the best TV show on CW because it's fresh, it's shiny, and Tom Cavanaugh. That's not the only reasons, but those are some of the main reasons. Arrow is kind of like it's kind of like the OG of CW TV shows, but it's kind of declined, so to speak, with its story and some of the character development. You see some rehashing on some characters. Other characters, they just turn into assholes. Some of them, like Oliver Queen, for example, they turn soft. I'll link my video down below where I talk about a lot of that stuff that's unfortunately in the Arrow seasons, or the Arrow seasons 1 through 4. But Supergirl is still kind of like the newborn baby, and again, I'll link that video where I go into full detail about Supergirl's flaws and its triumphs as well. But those are really the only two shows that have competition with The Flash, and it beats them out of the water by a mile. Right? Unlike Supergirl's first season, Flash's first season was great. It showed. It was actually teased in the Arrow TV show, but it was great because you had the Flash, one of the more known superheroes, finally getting some screen time, finally getting a new character and a new environment and a unique story, right? Where they do the same thing with Marvel Marvel Shield, or Agents of Shield, and Supergirl, where you have all of these convicts or all of these superpowered beings kind of disrupting the area that they're in, with the escaped convicts and Supergirl and the metahumans and the Flash. It's like everyone that shouldn't get power does have power, and that's a very interesting concept. Unfortunately, it's one that's recycled over and over and over again. But you have all of these villains with superpowers, and you also have the Flash being superpowered and having him run around, and it's a little bit witty. It tries to have that very dark undertone that Arrow has, but it has some comedy that's very associated with the Flash. And I think that there's an unfortunate mixture of both, that really it's just like the comedy should be the meat of it, and then the dark eccentric stuff shouldn't even be noticeable. But it's very unfortunate. But Tom Cavanaugh is kind of why the series is great. He plays Harrison Wells in both seasons. They cleverly write in his character even after he dies again. He died like twice in the series so far, and they brought him back again, right? The problem is that I don't know how they're going to do it over and over and over again. They should have they kind of wrote themselves in a wall, because really it's like there's no character, I don't think, in any of the DC superhero series that's as good of an actor as Tom Cavanaugh is in his portrayal of Harrison Wells. And it's like, if he leaves, that's a really big part of the Flash that is ultimately taken away from them. And it's just like they need to have him in in this TV show, or else it's going to be trash, right? But on top of that, I was kind of saying that, you know, the Flash is shiny and it's new, but the risks that are taken in the Flash are a lot greater than those that are being taken in the Arrow. Like nuclear war, oh my God, like that's very important. But we're talking about the fabric of time here, it just being disrupted and destroyed, right? With the Flash, right? Arrow doesn't get to that point at all. It's not even gotten close to that point. In the entirety of the series, it hasn't really had a universe ending or planet ending type of type of risk or scenario or problem. You could say nuclear war is, but really the entire planet will, not the entire planet, but the planet will recover. It will take thousands of years or hundreds of years, but it will recover, right? With the Flash, we're talking about the end of the planet and the universe and surrounding universes, right? That's what we're talking about with the Flash, especially in season 2. And there's just a lot more risk to it, which means there's a lot more powerful villains and interesting ways that the Flash had to take down these villains. And it's just such a relief to see something riskier, I would say, with the Flash, because he has superheroes, or he has superpowers, excuse me. But I think there's a couple of problems that definitely need to be addressed with this TV show. Costume. I've never been so disappointed in a specific costume. The Flash's costume, I'm disappointed in. Every single time I look at it, I'm like, really? The actual suit is fine. The gloves, the one-piece suit, the suit's fine. The hood that he puts on isn't fine at all. It makes his head look freaking huge, right? And it's kind of made out of cheap plastic. Like I'm watching the TV show, and I'm like, that looks like it's made out of cheap plastic. Could you not find anything else to go over his head? And the same problem is unfortunately in, you know, the new Flash and the new DC cinematic universe. Same problem. The hood looks ridiculous. It makes his head look freaking huge, and it makes him look like his brain is swelling. And it's like, I don't want him to ever put on the suit. Like, there are moments where he's talking to Harrison Wells and to Cisco and to his friends without the hood on, and I'm like, that's exactly what I want to see. No hood. Ever. Right? And I'm like, you know, if he could run around without the hood on, that would be perfect, but unfortunately that's not necessarily the case. The next problem is the CGI. The CGI is god-awful. It is terrible. It is probably the worst. It is one of the worst CGI effects I've ever seen. But they have to span it out for 20 plus episodes, 40-minute, 20 plus episodes, right? That's a long ass time to have CGI, and their budget isn't as big as Game of Thrones, for example, so they have to, you know, you pay for what you get, but they don't have a lot to pay for, which is unfortunate. But those are probably the worst parts ever. And unfortunately, the Flash, unlike the Arrow, kind of relies on having that CGI during some parts, because sometimes he's fighting villains that kind of rely on having that CGI, unfortunately. But I think the final issue with this TV show, and with a lot of TV shows that CW produces, is the fighting. The fighting is the worst goddamn thing in this show. The Flash tries, and, you know, he tries to handle people like he's Muhammad Ali and gets his ass kicked every single time, right? He tries to box, he tries to kick, he tries to do something of that nature, because so that way they don't use the CGI, right? The problem is that he always gets his ass kicked. He always gets a leg broken. Something bad always happens when he's trying to fight someone who is more experienced than him, with martial arts. On top of that, is just more experienced than him, because he's been doing this for like a year or two. So the choreography during the fighting isn't something to be desired, and the actual CGI of it is pretty bad. And the worst thing is that they're trying to like avoid the CGI is trying to avoid the fighting, and the fighting is trying to avoid the CGI. It's pretty much like trying to watch a Dallas Cowboys football game where the Dallas Cowboys offense tries to keep the defense off the field because the defense sucks. It's pretty much like that. The show has tried to make the CGI on the show, or has tried to use as little of the CGI on the show as much as possible, because the CGI sucks. But it still doesn't mean that The Flash isn't a good TV show. I do think that it's better than The Arrow, especially with how The Arrow has gone. And I think Harrison Wells is a fantastic character. That's it. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I'll be releasing the Legends of Tomorrow episode tomorrow. Technically, it's today. It's like midnight. And another video that I said I was going to do earlier in the video, I completely forgot about it. But I'll see you tomorrow, or today. What do you guys think about The Flash? Is it CW's best TV show, or is it its worst? Or its second best? I'll leave you with that thought. This has been 24. Have a fantastic night. And I need to turn off the video.